So, hello and welcome back to Ashley Main Migs, and today I'm going to be giving you a tour of my sewing space. So, I have a very small sewing space. In fact, it is actually a Texas-sized walk-in closet. So I'm definitely working with what I've got. It's definitely not perfect. I have tidied it up a little bit, but I tried to not tidy it up too much because I really want to get an idea of what's working for me and what's not. I'm currently in the process of moving, so this is probably the last video that you'll see in this space. And so this is as much a documentation for me as it is for you guys, but I thought you might be interested in seeing it because it is a small space. I feel like I do have a lot of great organization happening in this room, and so let's get into it. All right, so this is a little bit of an overview of the space. As I mentioned, it is a closet, but it's not as bad as you might think. There is a window in this room, as you can probably tell, but because it is my closet, I do have all my clothes on the right-hand side. I'm not really going to go through that because it's pretty messy. I've already started going through it for the move, and the room is a bit messy, but that's because I'm going to try and show you the truth of the situation. So here's kind of an idea of the lay of the land, and let's get into the nitty-gritty. All right, so starting off on the left-hand side, I have this circle shelf that I got from Target. And in theory, this was going to be a lot more decorative than what it ended up being like. I feel like I need smaller items to go on this shelf. But up top, I've got my hot roller clips. I have this rattan bag that I got from Target. I have this one that's a fancier designer one that I got on resale. This is from Francis Valentine. And then I have my accessories for my 503A, like my Rocketeer. This is the buttonholer that I showed off in that short. So you can see how cool that is. I just love the packaging on these. So cool. Looks like a spaceship. Also, I have my DSLR, and then I have a couple of little guys on the bottom here. This is one of the mascots from Jish, which was a crafting competition. And then I have this little monster dude that I made in art school that creeps everyone out, but I think he belongs on the shelf. It looks like he is like lounging in it, so I love it. So moving down, this is where my serger lives, just on this shelf here. I am not lucky enough to have enough space to have them both out at the same time, so this keeps it convenient for me to be able to swap back and forth. I also have all of its accessories in this bin, along with a few other sewing machine accessories as well, and my manual, of course. If you've got a serger, you know you need that. I have my stand-up set of hot rollers here. Behind that, I have a little lint roller hanging out. If you rip any sort of seams, that's actually super useful for getting all the little bits off, so I like to keep one hanging out and about. A lamp that I normally have on, but it's blowing out the shot. And I have the little charging station for my electric scissors that I showed off on another short here. Haven't really figured out a good location for that because it does need to be charged fairly regularly if you're using it. Up top that you can't really see, I have my Blue Yeti microphone. This I actually got, I thrifted, which is amazing. But this is what I use to do all the voiceovers for my videos. I also have, which I don't think you can see because it's totally blown out, but I also have this antique candy dish that I keep all my cotton rounds in for doing my makeup and my nails. And I also have a bag of patterns sitting here. So hopefully I will get the last couple of patterns that I'm wanting from Simplicity before I go, and I can do a little pattern haul for you guys. So that's why that's just chilling there. That normally doesn't live there. So moving down again, I have my whole fabric stash here. It's not the largest stash in the world, but it is fairly substantial. Mostly I think it's a very efficient way of organizing it with these cardboard inserts, but I am trying to keep it down to a dull roar. I did just take a bunch of stuff into Austin Creative Reuse, which is like kind of a reuse craft supplies place here in Austin that you can donate to. So that's really helpful. Things I just like bought early on in my sewing that I either hadn't bought enough of or I hated so much I'm never going to work with again, stuff like that. So I did do a huge purge, but this is kind of how everything is sitting at the moment. I am renting right now, so these shelves are built in. This was not me putting this here, so it doesn't fit quite perfect. As you can see on the bottom shelf, it's sort of leaning a little bit, but for the most part, it's working out really well. I used these cardboard inserts from Uline They are actually for like being able to stack cans in boxes, but you could of course cut your own. I was just feeling lazy and I had of course all of these to do. So these cuts of cardboard are 15 by 10, and that is actually the perfect size for 60-inch wide fabric. I looked at buying some of these inserts, but a lot of them were meant for quilting cottons, which are 45-inch wide, versus, you know, your apparel fabric that is, you know, 58 or 60 inches wide. So you can see kind of the different widths here. Like this is a quilting cotton and I have a bit of the cardboard sticking out. I think this works out well for me because, like, as you can see, most of mine are garment fabrics, so it works out really well for me for storing it because, you know, half of 60 is 30, half of 30 is 15, so if you put it in a quarter, it fits perfectly in this system. I don't know what I'm going to do once I move and I don't have these shelves. I'm thinking about getting some IKEA Kallax units. I think is probably how that's going to go. Maybe like a tall, skinny one. But for now, this worked perfectly for me for the moment, and I really enjoy being able to see my fabric. I think it really kind of inspires me, and as you can see, I have a very kind of distinct color palette at this point, so I really love it. I think it works really well. So this is the elephant in the room. This is my scrap bin. This is one of the things that is obviously not working. I have a lot of stuff in here. I've been only keeping my larger scraps, like big enough to cut a pocket out of sort of thing, in this bin, but it's still overflowing. I also have like random things, like this is a mock-up in here that I've got, so not really know what to do with those half the time. This just not working at the moment. I need to figure out if I want to make like a poof or how I want to like divide it up. I think I'd like to get rid of a lot of the knit scraps. I don't necessarily use those very much. It's just, I don't know. Give me ideas for a scrap bin. I do think I want to organize it a little bit more so it's a little bit more usable to actually use the scraps, like keep all the stuff for wovens that's pocket size in a place and keep other stuff somewhere else or knit stuff somewhere else. But yeah, let me know what you do with your scraps. Like I say, I've only been keeping larger ones, but I would love to know. There's not really a recycler here in Austin, and I don't think there is one where I'm moving either, so it's a hard time, but yeah. Scrap bin that is out of control, but that's okay. Fabric looks beautiful and organized. All right, so moving on to my desk. First thing I have is these Doc Ock looking things. So these are called Lock Line, and I got this idea from Adam Savage from Tested. He used to be the Mythbuster, if you know what I'm talking about, but this is what he uses to film his videos on. I did get a lot of kind of ideas for this room from him. He wrote a book called Every Tool's a Hammer, and I absolutely love it. He has this concept of first order retrievability, so organizing things based on how often you use them, not necessarily what category they go in, and I feel like that's been a bit of a game changer for me in this room. Not that it's perfect, but I feel like this is the closest I've got to having a room that fits my brain. That's kind of where we're coming from this room, because you're going to see some random stuff here in a minute. But anyway, this is where the camera normally sits, and it's aimed at my sewing machine from here. Behind it, I have another one holding a little webcam as well. This is from when I used to do live streams. I haven't done live streams in a bit, and if you've missed them, let me know. But I haven't done them in a bit because YouTube's changed their guidelines around ads, and so there's a lot more ads in them just generally, and I don't have control over how they're broken up as much, and so it just makes it hard. I know I got a lot of comments in the last one that there's been a lot of ads in it, so I just don't know what to do about that. Maybe down the road, if there's a lot more interest, we'll look at something doing an unlisted link, like maybe if I've got a Patreon or something like that, we'll revisit it. I didn't really enjoy doing them, so maybe we'll do some more as like one-off things or something. Let me know how you want me to handle that, because that's been kind of a thing up in the air, and I just decided I would focus on shorts and long-form videos a bit more. This is the other thing I've got that I originally set up for the live stream. So this is a Windows Surface, basically like the Windows version of an iPad, and I really love it. I put it on this stand originally to be able to watch the chat on here when I was on live stream, but it's been fabulous actually, because I can watch videos, like YouTube videos, while I'm on my sewing machine, or I can do like video chats with other people and still sew at the same time, or just hang out and talk to people in here. So really love that. This has been a bit of a game changer. I do I'm surprised how much I like it. It's really been nice to have. So behind that, I have my pegboard, and this is where I store all my makeup. I do also use this desk as my vanity as well, and I do really enjoy being able to sit down and relax, maybe watch a YouTube video and do my makeup. This is meant to be like a hardware pegboard, so they did not have my makeup collection in mind, obviously, and this looks a hot mess, but it's working really well in the spirit of first order retrievability. So I think I need to revisit this moving forward and think about like maybe get some more of these cups or some more of these like type tray things, something like that, to clean this up a little bit and make it a bit more functional and not just like stacked all over the place. But it is working really well, so there's that. I have my mirror here that I use that I can like move around and put on the floor when I don't need it. I also have some sewing supplies on here, so I've got this one that's filled with all my marking supplies. I've got some heat pens, some water erase pens. I have some Sharpies as well. I do really like these like lighter colored Sharpies for marking a lot of my patterns, like marking the sizes out and stuff. So these are really useful. I have all my scissors in here. And then I have kind of miscellaneous. I've got my point turner and my awl in there. And then I've got my snips as well. Again, working really well in the spirit of first order retrievability. Looks kind of a hot mess, but is generally actually really functional. So we'll probably revisit this in the new space. So next up we have my Craftsman organizer, and this was actually the inspiration for this entire video. I posted this as a short and people were really excited about it, and honestly I am too. This is meant for a shop. Like, this is meant for hardware, like screws and washers, like nails, that sort of thing. But instead I'm using it for all the tiny sewing supplies. And this has been really helpful for me to keep everything all organized in one place. And again, really easy to grab when I'm sitting here sewing at my machine. And it was really good to say, combine all the things I had. So originally I had my Nana's stash, a bunch of the stuff that she had bought at various auctions, and my own few things that I had. So I've combined them all. Say like these hook and eyes were all in like 3 different Sucrets containers, and now it all fits in here all together in one place, and like it barely fits up this drawer. So it's just a lot more functional, and I'm not like digging around for stuff. Everything is labeled. All this stuff actually fits super well in these drawers too. Like, here are the hem tapes, and they fit magically perfectly in these drawers. You can see I've got like vintage ones. These are from the 70s. These are also from Austin Creative Reuse. And then I've got like some modern ones in here, and they all fit in these drawers. So it works super well. I do have it linked on my Amazon store. Tried to link as much as I could in the Amazon store. If you are inclined to buy on Amazon anyway, I'm not encouraging that necessarily. I just was an easy place to put everything, and it gives me a little bit of a kickback if you guys use the link. But I did buy mine at Home Depot, so that's totally an option too. I did also leave all my filming equipment and everything else I've showed. That stuff was really easy to link in here because I did buy all that on Amazon originally. So up top here, I have another rattan bag. This one is actually true vintage, probably from the early 60s, and it's one of my favorite ones that I own. It has like a nice Bakelite handle, something like that. Some sort of early plastic, and I really love it. Up there also, I have my Google speaker up here. So this is connected with the rest of my apartment and also my fiance, so he can yell at me if he needs to, if I get caught up sewing in here. It also is really useful for making our lists, and use it also for music in this room. So we definitely have some like old meets new happening in here. I have a couple of spools of bias binding chilling over here too, which I haven't figured out a good home for all my spools of various things. I do have a bunch down at the bottom as well, so that's something I will also be looking at addressing in my new space. This is the majority of what you see in the background of all my videos, which is my pattern stash. So over on the far left there, I have a very chaotic bin of all the patterns that I'm currently thinking about, that I'm wanting to work on. It is currently overflowing, so we're not going to manage all that by the time I move, so I really have to do a little bit of a cull for that, but those are just hanging out there. I have some decor magazines and I have my sewing slash YouTube notebook. This one is Happy Planner brand, and I do really like it because it allows me to take pages in and out and move things around, so I can move things to the back or the front once I'm working on them. But I do really love it. Not sponsored. Hashtag not sponsored. Although if they want to, let me know. And then I have the great majority of my patterns. So I have both my indie patterns in here and my big four patterns. So once the big four patterns come out of the envelope, you know how hard it is to stuff them back in. So this allows me to fold them back up, not quite as small, so I don't have to damage them by shoving them back in the envelope. And it allows me to fold pieces up and put them away as I cut them out, which for me makes me end up losing a lot less pieces because I go and cut out in my dining room and then bring them back here. Helps me not lose patterns and keep everything organized. So I have all my big four in here. Great majority of what I sew is indie. I've been using a new printer in the last little while, which is where most of these come from, which is the Plotted Pattern. She has the ability to print on tissue, so that's the majority of what these are. There's some older ones in here that were in her heavier paper that she originally offered, but then we've moved into mostly her lighter pattern. These are new ones that I've ordered, and you can see how slim those are now. So this is really working well for me. I think this is working out the best for my brain because I'm able to easily just like flick through my patterns and see what I have. So I would like to get some more of these organizers once I move and have a good shelf for them to live on. So far, I think this is awesome. I'm really excited about this system, and I think I will definitely keep ordering from her. Again, not sponsored. I might talk to her about an affiliate link down the road, but yeah, I love this. I think it's working way better for me, and it's really nice that I can keep all my indie and my big four in one place. So the other couple things you can see behind me normally are my sewing basket, which this houses a few doubles for me, and this is just sort of my travel sewing basket. So this is what I use to go over to my friend's house and sew, or go to retreats and sew, that sort of thing. I have my vintage train case here that my friend got me, and I use it to hold all my stationery supplies, actually. All the aforementioned Happy Planner stuff, my label maker, things like that. Next up, I have a few of my reference books. So I have both of the Cashmerette books chilling in here because I just did those videos. So if you want to go have a look, I've done a review video on both of these, but they are living in here because I have actually been referencing them. I do use them, so they're chilling. Same with, this is Sewing for Plus Sizes from Barbara Decker. I also use this one a lot. I really need to have these permanently live somewhere in here. I have them all linked in my Amazon store as well, along with the Adam Savage book I talked about. Then I have my box for my electric scissors still. I haven't really found a good way of storing them, so it has gone back into the box a few times, and I'm gonna put it back in there for the move, so we'll do that. I don't know how we're gonna store it eventually. Like I say, I just wish it had like a locking mechanism on it that would lock it a bit more firmly. So next up are two IKEA bins, and these are sort of a stock standard regular size of thing, but they do hold paper patterns exceedingly well. So I have a bunch of big four and a few print Cashmerette in here that I haven't sewn up yet. So they fit really well in these boxes, so they just live in there. I have a few oversized here on the side, so not the best for those, but for regular big four, fits really quite well in these boxes. So I have one for dresses and one for separates, and then once I actually make them, they move over to the other shelf. Going down, these are sitting on my IKEA Trofast system, which is actually meant for kids originally, but I actually think it works really well for craft supplies because it comes in these plastic bins. So if you have any scissors or any glue or any glitter or anything, it's not going to like poke out the side of your drawer, get all over the place. You can just take out the whole bin, rinse it out, and put it back. So I really do like that. Because these are behind things in this room, they're not as functional as they were before. I had them stacked up like double in my last space, and that worked really well. So say for instance, these are blocked right now. I was going to use that one as my fabric scrap bin, and obviously that didn't turn out very well. I have converted a couple of these to be shelves instead. So there's a number of options with this system, whether you want like big bins, small bins, and shelves. So I have a number of things on these shelves. I do have my thread organizer in here. Obviously it doesn't fit perfectly, but this works okay for me. I didn't really like the idea of having a spool rack out just because I thought it would look messy, and having light hit your thread is actually really bad for it. So having it kind of more tucked away is nice. Just because I have a whole bunch of different sizes, like it's not aesthetic. Like I don't know how people have aesthetic like spool bins. I'm able to keep my bobbins in there too, which is really nice. Below that, just tucked in here, I have that ironing pad that you see me use in a lot of videos. I really like this, actually. Again, I got it for live streams, but I find I use it a ton now because just when you're sitting there sewing, you can just like iron a little bit and not have to pull out the whole ironing board. And again, in this tight room, it's really helpful. I have a bunch of spools of random things. Again, I need a home for spools, so let me know. I might put up a dowel or something, or like a tension rod or something to put these all on. But these are from Wawak. This is that hem tape that I've been talking about, and my band roll in there. So they're just tucked in there, not exactly organized. I have some of my sketching and drawing supplies. And then I have my ironing hams, again, just tucked in here. Easy to reach for, easy to grab for. Does it look the nicest? No, but it's very convenient. So works really well in the spirit of retrievability. So I need to find a functional way of making that look. Where things gather is where they need to live, is my official opinion. I have a few bins of all my different sewing supplies. The middle one there is obviously overflowing with all this sewing tools, cutters and buttons and things. So we need to figure out to make that a little bit more streamlined. I do also have, I slid it back in there too good. Slid it in there too good. Okay. This is also another thing I got from IKEA. This folds out and becomes a thing to put your laptop on. So again, also use this desk to edit videos. So this sits up and helps me elevate my laptop. So it fits in this shelf as well. Really well, obviously a little too well. So here's where my other patterns live. These are all older patterns. These are from when I used to order from pdfplotting.com. And honestly, I don't love it. It's really hard to find things. You can't really see what a pattern is at a glance. Like this one you can see it's like Cashmerette sticking out, but like, I mean, I sort of know that that one's Cashmerette too based on the markings, but it's hard to tell what is what in this jumbled bin. It's hard to find anything. So it's not my favorite way of storing patterns, and I think I'm moving away from it generally. But this was a wrapping paper bin that I got, and it does work pretty well. Sort of not the prettiest, but hey, you know, it does work. It is very functional. It keeps them all in one place. I do have a bunch of my larger rulers in here as well, just slipped in the side, and again, keeps them out of the way and in an easy to grab place. So works for now. Eventually, as we work through them, I might order them in the other tissue, the ones that I actually use. So we'll look at that down the road. We'll maybe need to evaluate that. So last but not least, I've got my over-the-door iron hanger, and it has room to store both my iron and my spray starch. And then I've got a few like ironing guides in the back there. I've got my favorite felt one that you see me use all the time, and then a metal hem one. I don't find that quite as useful, but I still use it occasionally, so it lives there. So this is really useful because it keeps everything, again, all in one space when I'm thinking about it. So, and then the ironing board itself is from IKEA, and I do really need a new cover for it. They've been out of stock on the covers forever, so I might have to break down and make one. But you can see here at the bottom, the reason I like this ironing board is the fact that it's got this little divot here that holds your iron, so I can literally iron in the middle of the living room if I need to. So for me, I'm working in a small space, that's really helpful. But that's pretty much the tour. Thanks for coming to see my space. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing it and got some good organizational ideas. Please let me know if you have any ideas for my new space. I am super excited about it. I'm really looking forward to setting it up. So let me know if you would like to see a video once I've got it all set up as well. I'm really looking forward to it. And while you're down there, please hit that like and subscribe and maybe the bell, because it's probably going to be a bit in flux for the next little bit. I've been trying to pre-record a little bit, but then you'll be notified when I actually put out videos. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the new space. Bye guys!